Toni Onley has painted himself right into the fabric of the West. Right from his very first paintings, Toni captured the pure beauty of the land around us. After 3 years of learning his craft down in Mexico in the late 50s, travels to all parts of the world, especially the Far East and the Canadian West, his marriage to his third wife, Yukiko, which is pure bliss. After all of this, honors and awards abound. This man of endless energy now has his work bought and displayed all over the world. And wouldn't you know it, he's not even a native. He's from the Isle of Man.
I have lots of memories of the Isle of Man. You know, where to choose from is the point. That's where I was born. That's where I was brought up. It was a marvelous place to grow up because there were no distractions there. The outside world never seemed to come to the island, and you had to make your own fun. And I did it by painting.
As a Manxman, then, that makes you very unique among
people, I suppose. They're only expert like Scotchmen are the people, really.
But you did paint there, or at least you sketched.
Yeah, I always painted, and I think when I was about 11 years old, I started painting a little more seriously, and by the time I was 14, I was in art school.
Your father was an actor. Your mother was a very supportive stage mom. Did you see yourself at any time going in that direction?
Oh, it would have been very, very brief, actually, because I did help my father in productions. I painted scenery, and he never did like the scenery I painted. I was never able to please him. I remember painting a set for a farce called See How They Run. It's I don't know if you know that play. It's all these crazy clerics running. There's a lot of running in it, and they're running out through the vicarage garden and in through the living room, and so I painted the garden out through the window, and my father said it was very abstract. And it wasn't like a vicarage garden at all. Anyway, the play was panned, and the scenery got a rave review. But I was fired, and I wouldn't do the next play, which was The Hasty Heart, which was set in the Burmese jungle. So they had to use the vicarage garden for the Burmese jungle scene, and it got another good review. All-purpose garden. In 1966, I got my pilot's license. I bought an airplane. I started flying around and seeing landscape, and I'd always carry a sketchbook with me and some watercolors, and wherever I landed, I'd do a little sketch.
It was September the 9th, 1984, during a fly-in to Garibaldi National Park with photographer John Reeves that Toni Onley had a close brush with death. His plane hit a downdraft and crashed into a crevasse with just the wings keeping the plane from falling in. I made the comment that the crash must have been a profound experience.
Well, I'll tell you one thing it does for you. It makes you value time. You don't waste time anymore. You know, it's the greatest waste on earth is time. You can throw money away, but time you never get back. You can always earn a few more bucks, but you'll never get your time back. So I resent spending time on things that don't produce art for me, or are not connected with my art in some way or another.
Did you actually say in a brash moment once that you could do a painting in 5 minutes?
No. Mind you, when you're painting watercolors, you have to paint very fast. And, you know, I'm fond of saying that my best paintings don't take very long to do. The bad ones take a long time to do. A good watercolor falls off the brush. You know, the nature of the medium is it's drying all the time, so you can't sort of sit around and agonize over it. So the disasters and the triumphs come very quickly. It's always very flattering, you know, when people say, you know, we were driving over the Lionsgate Bridge last night and we looked up and, my God, you know, there was one of your paintings, you know. And I suppose I've destroyed the landscape for an awful lot of people who live in this province. They can only see it through my eyes, you know.
Toni's landscape series 65 to 88 will be on display at the Heffel Gallery in September.
Next week, our guests are Betty Phillips, Monty McFarlane, Roger Schiffer, Doug Collins, and Will and Jimmy of the Irish Rovers.
Busy show. Gotta go. We'll leave you with a clip from the very first Let's Go show featuring the classics and vocalist Howie Vickers. Good night, Lynn.
Good night, Terry.
Good night, all.
Tell me, baby, do you like it like this? Do you like it like this?